First of all, thank you for coming. I'll start out by saying really, really pleased with the football team today. That was as hard a practice as we have had, from conditioning to the heat to just how physical I asked them to be to competing at the end. I think it says a lot about our senior leadership. We have a great group of seniors. We do a great job of, you guys know a couple of them a lot, but we have a lot of other guys that are, maybe don't talk to the media quite as much that I would encourage you to get to know, because I think they're wonderful kids. Will Hayes is probably one of the voices on this team, and he has those guys out there practicing at a high level. Hershey Walton today practiced for the first time in a long time as a senior, fighting his way back from injury. So really pleased with the seniors, the tone that they're setting, and we have a lot of really young, talented players, and they're falling in line quickly. So, with that, I know you guys have some questions, but was really, really excited walking off the field today after sort of a sloppy scrimmage on Saturday, to have the guys come back after a day off with real energy. So, see if you guys have any questions.
Matt, what went into your decision for Nate D. Smith to move him to the D-line?
Well, 2 years ago he played some D-line for us, and was relentless. We really felt good about Jared Alwan. He started the last couple games last year at Mike, and we didn't want Nate D to be on the bench. We think he is a dynamic pass rusher. He's relentless. And we thought if he did it full time. Now, he still takes reps for us at Mike linebacker, so he's able to do both. But with the versatility, when you have guys who can play linebacker and who can rush the passer, we can be really multiple. We can drop, we can rush. So, but the main thing is we think Nate's going to be really relentless and really get after the quarterback. And we've got better getting after the quarterback last year, but we were still fourth in the conference in terms of sacks, and we want to be first. So that's a major focus for us.
What was Hershey's issue again?
Hershey he has had it back for a while, and now he had a hamstring. So nothing major, but things that have held him out. So he really hasn't been able to rep with his teammates, and so it was good to get him some reps today.
How excited are your guys ready to get the season going, especially against Penn State?
I'm trying to teach them. As best I can, just to focus on today. I know they're excited about those games. I know they're excited to get started, but as I said to them, we had a great opening win last year. And the season ended another way. So I want us to really just be great today, great tomorrow, and that's not just coach talk. I'm trying to get myself to do that. Believe me, I get hyped up about playing games, but just trying to get all of us to be really good day in and day out. That's sort of our mission. But I know they're excited to get started. There's a veteran group. And, it's just tremendous to play a great team like Penn State the first game. What a great test, and then play the preseason conference favorite in Cincinnati the second game. Two great tests, and then a UMass team that really got hot at the end of last year with a great quarterback. So our work is cut out for us the first three games. So that's why we have to have a really good camp.
You were kind of limited on what you could say Saturday after scrimmage because you didn't watch film. Is there anything that you noticed when you did go back and watch?
Well, I think the young running backs are going to be fantastic. Now, who's ahead of who? It's hard to say because they all fumble the ball, right? So, at the end of the day, it's hard to say someone's going to be a starting tailback when they fumble. But, all three tailbacks are explosive, dynamic kids. I think maybe you guys saw TJ at the end, bust a long run, I don't know. Rockwell Armstead has been the standout so far of camp in that group of kids. And then David Hood and Jihad Thomas. Jihad had a great spring, and David Hood is fighting. So we have five tailbacks we like, which is a good problem. But I would say that would be first. I thought Frank Newtow, in there with the ones a little bit, and the second quarterback had some good moments. Still not good enough yet, and those other guys are still fighting, but had some good moments. And we really like our young O-linemen, Joe Vaughn and Benson. And then Robbie made an explosive play, just a different type of a play that we haven't seen here in 2 years. So it was great to have that. So, and then defensively, we have some questions in terms of the defensive line depth. But I thought we had a lot of guys compete. Kareem Ali, Nate Hairston as the backup corners, Artrell Foster are all fighting to get in the mix, which is good.
From the end of last year to up until now, what's been the message for PJ to try to get him back on where he was?
I'll just say this. The only difference I'll say, and you know me well enough how much I love you guys. Respect. The only thing is, I don't want him to think too much about 2 years ago because he was a 2-6 quarterback. And last year he was a 6-6 quarterback. In the history of Temple, there's only a couple of guys that have been bowl-eligible quarterbacks. So I'm really proud of him. To me, it's just taking the next step, right? And it's just one simple thing and one simple only. Don't turn the football over as much. You know what I'm saying? And that's us too. Now, we've gone back and we have torn our souls apart saying, what can we do better as coaches to help him? And I think, you just see a totally different kid maturity-wise. Not that he was an immature kid. He's just understands more and more of the game. His body's better. He's out there running with the running backs and wideouts and all the conditioning. But, he is a winner. That's my point to him was, hey, keep winning. He got us to 6 wins. Now get us, make that next jump. But just don't turn the ball over. And I think if he can do that, he'll be a force, just a great player for us on offense.
What does the conference championship game mean for this program and then also the conference in general moving forward?
I think for the conference, it just legitimizes us. All the other major conferences except for one have a conference championship game, and football is a game that should be settled on the field, right? It's settled on the field in high school, settled on the field in the NFL. So I think it's great for us, to have that opportunity. And I think, for us to get into that game would be wonderful to have it at home, play here in Philadelphia, a championship game, because it'll be go to the highest seeded, I'm not real smart, but the highest seeded home team would get to the home game. So that would be outstanding. And then, for us, one of the challenges here, one of our core values is, to win a championship. And except for, I think maybe Harry might know, it's 1967, 1968, right? There's been no conference championships in the Big East MAC era, and that's what we would like to do. So.
Is that the goal this season, to win a conference championship?
That's a goal every year, right? I mean, our goal is to, I don't tell our team this. I tell us this. I mean, we want to win or compete for the conference championship every year. You're not going to win the Super Bowl every year. You're not going to win the conference every year. But you want to be relevant. You want to be, you want to be in the mix. And we want to go to a bowl game every year. And we want to, graduate all of our seniors every year. So we have a bunch of things that we want to have happen. So are we there yet? I don't know. I really don't know. There's a lot of really good teams. But I want us to be a team that's in the mix for it, that has a chance to going down the stretch to fight for it, and then let us go fight for it,
You guys talk about that a lot because you were here when you got to the 2 bowl games, and that was a big deal, but that always kind of seemed to stick with you and said we lost a game or so in November that we should have won. Is that kind of still bother you a couple years
Yeah,
later?
I don't talk about championships at all with the team, all right? I don't talk about, hey, Penn State versus this team at all with the team. And I did early on. I've kind of, I'm trying to learn, you know what I mean? Like, it's about competing each and every day, how we play. That being said, what I have said to them is, our history since I've been here is to go out and beat Maryland 45-17 and then get throttled the next week by Toledo. To go out and play decent against Notre Dame 2 years, not great, and come back and lose to Houston. To go out and beat Vandy and get 7 turnovers and then come back and give up 512 yards of offense to Navy, right? To be this up and down team. And really it's because we listen to everything. Hey, we're great. Oh, we stink. Hey, we're great. No. We can beat every team on our schedule. We can lose to every team on our schedule. So come out and compete every day, play our best, and see what happens, right? And so I think they're getting it more and more. When you're 18, 19, 20, 21, it's hard to say that, right? And, when you're on your phone all the time and you're, on the computer all the time, you're hearing everything, it's hard to say all that. But we're just trying to teach that, and we're trying to teach ourselves that, just to go compete each and every week and see what happens.
With this new emphasis on running the ball, are you going to go a lot of heavy tight end sets, or if you use a fullback, who's the fullback going to be?
That's a great question. Are you sitting in our staff meeting? We have that conversation every night. We're going to be everything. I mean, we're multiple. We have a lot of wideouts we like. We have a lot of tight ends we like, So we'd like to be really multiple. We have a lot of running backs we like. So we'd like to be multiple, getting in and out of a lot of different things. That fullback job is, we don't know, and so we have a couple kids battling for it. For everyone from Jake Robinson, who's a freshman, who's in tight end that we kind of been using, to Robert Travado, who played for us last year as a true freshman, a little bit on special teams as a tough kid, to Daquan Buckley, who's a freshman. But there's no clear-cut favorite right now, and that's a concern, to be quite honest, is who's going to fill that role for us if we want to have that role.
What about your depth this year?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of competitive depth, though we have some issues at some places, at linebacker. We don't have much depth at linebacker. We're concerned about our depth at interior defensive line. We have guys, but are they ready to play? They're all redshirt freshmen, and they haven't played a ton. So the linebacker is probably our biggest concern, and then D-tackle's next. A lot of other places we think we have depth. It'll come down to when those guys get in. When someone gets hurt and those guys get in, are they ready to play at a championship level? Are they ready to go in there and just, pick up where the other guy left off, or will there be a drop-off? And based upon the way we're practicing, I feel good that our guys have the mentality of, I'm not going to be the drop-off.
How's Aaron Ruff?
Aaron's still got a ways to go. Aaron's got a pretty good way to go. He's working hard. He's just developing right now. So I think he has a chance. But I think right now he's behind some of those kids, and it's going to take him a little bit more time.
The other day,
Tavon, I think, is I'm expecting him to compete to be one of the best corners, best defensive players in the conference. He's tough. He's competitive. He's extremely smart. He's extremely fast. From when we, he got up and he had talked to the team the other day. From when we got here till now, he's gone from a guy that he had to throw off the field every other day because he had something to say to everybody, to he's a captain, right? He has symbolized the development of the program, and I attribute that to one thing and one thing only. Two things: Francis Brown and Phil Snow have developed him not just as a player but as a competitor. He's always been a competitor, so he handled it the wrong way. Now he is a Temple Owl all through and through. So. He'll match up. He'll play, bump and run against, everybody and see if he can compete. But I think he's going to be one of the better players in the conference.
So he's really developed over the last year or so.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think even, he played for Steve the first year. I think, he's, and But the last 3 years, I mean, he's developed on the football field. He's up to 180 now, which we first got here, he wouldn't go didn't like the weight room. Now he's proud that he's 180 and walks around like he's all swole up. Went up to Newport with us. You know, he represented us great. So he's awesome. You know, when I let a guy talk to the team, you know, it means I think guys in the back, you know, the freshmen, there's something they need to hear. He's the guy, like, we go to the movies last night. He's the guy whispering in his ear like, hey, let's make sure we leave this place better than we found it. And it happens. So he's a credit to him and his family, but he's really developed.
Was there a certain point or moment in time where you started to see the change in him?
You know what? I would just say probably last off season, going into last season. The great thing with him, and that's why Francis Brown is such a great assistant coach, I don't have to deal with him very much. You know, you judge assistant coaches in a lot of ways, and one of them is how much you have to deal with their players. I mean, Francis is on his players. So I just think at some point he realized I can be really good. All I have to do is listen. You know, like I tell the guys, I don't care what music you listen to. I don't care who you date. I don't care how you wear your hair. I don't care what kind of sneakers you wear. I care if you go to class, treat people with respect, and how much you do football. And I think once he got that, like, I'm just asking you to be a good football player, man. I'm not asking you all this other stuff. He bought in, and he has run with it. And I think that's, you know, like I said, that's been a major step for our team because he's a really good corner.
You guys do a team movie thing?
What's that?
You went to the movies?
Yeah, we went and saw Straight Outta Compton last night. Yeah, me, my wife, and the football team. It was awesome. It was awesome.
She was a part of that $50-some million that came into that movie, right?
What's that? Yes. Temple has contributed to the $50 million. So. But we went to a movie last year. We try to take, you know, we give them Sundays off on their body and some Wednesdays off, right? Because when we go, right? But we, you know, we give them time to go to church. If they go to church, we give them time to rest their body. They moved in Saturday, so I only gave them 2 hours to move into their dorm. So I heard a lot of complaints about that. So they had Sunday to do that, and then we went and saw a movie as a team. So.
So we'll talk about that because, I mean, a lot of kids come from the inner city, come from places like Compton. What impact you think, Matt, you know, that movie?
The one thing I heard the guys say is just sort of, if you see the movie, how these guys kind of came up together and how they all kind of got pulled apart and how in the end they all came back together. And one of our messages to our guys is like when you make selfish decisions as you go through your life, if you do things for yourself, you end up alone. If you do things for other people, you always end up with a lot of people at the end of your life that are there to love you. So just try to get our guys, you probably hear me screaming on the field, I will care about my teammate, right? Like I'm screaming it, trying to get our guys to play for each other. And I think that's one of the messages of that movie. And I think one of the other messages is you have to have a vision, right? A dream of what you want to be and how you want to do it, and you have to go do it. And no matter what the adversity is. And so, but, you know, I'll get up here tonight and I'll say, what did you guys think? And they'll have really cool perspectives. You know, and to me, it's about shared. Football's a great game because we have kids from the inner city, we have kids from the suburbs, we have kids from farms, right? And they all come in these rooms. We have kids with high SATs, low SATs. We have kids with good, you know, they have all these different issues, good, bad, and indifferent. And they come together and they sit here under one standard, but they learn from each other, right? So I was just disappointed because none of our kids knew any of those songs. I'm sitting there like I'm the coolest guy in this movie right now because I'm the only guy who knows any songs. So. But you know, I think it's good. I think it's good that they see me bring my wife, right? I think it's cool that you know, we go sit there together and I ask them to turn their phones on. That's the hardest thing for them to do, not look and check their phone during the movie. But it's fun to go do things like that as a team. You know, 105 guys together.
What were you saying to Freddie down the stretch? Is it because he held off from hitting somebody when he could have?
No, I was telling Freddie, like, Freddie's been hurt, and we think Freddie can be really good, and he fought to get out there. They were like, we don't know if he can practice today, and he fought to get out there. I was so proud of him. So I kept telling Freddie, like, hey, you have 3 more plays left in you, bro. Can you play hard for 3 more plays? Because he hasn't been out there, right? And then 2 more plays. And they ran that guy down. I hit him, and I don't want him to hit the guy. But I made a point to the team of, here's a guy, 311 pounds, hasn't practiced, forcing himself to practice on a bad foot. And he runs 15 yards down the field. Why? Because he cares about the team. He cares about winning. And when you get guys to run down the ball like that, you know, in practice 12 in the heat, then they'll do it in the game. And so I just wanted to make that point to him and to them. We're proud of Freddie. He's worked hard.
When you mentioned running backs, where's Zaire Williams?
Yeah, Zaire's been playing. I asked Zaire to play defense. Zaire's tough, competitive, hard-nosed, physical guy, and we think he can be special on defense. So he's always been a good special teams player. But just as we've gone through camp, sort of the depth, you know, those other guys were getting more reps than him, and I want him on the field somewhere. So we're experimenting with it. After 3 days in the scrimmage, I don't know what today looked like, but after 3 days in the scrimmage, I mean, he can do it. You know, he has to probably put a little weight on, but you know, Avery Williams is a running back, moved over, and he's been a special player for us on defense. So it's sort of an experiment right now, but you know, we felt like just looking at the depth, those other guys had moved beyond him, and we wanted to get him on the field. He's too good of a player not to be on the field.
Corner, safety?
Oh, he's playing outside linebacker for us, which is really like Avery and those guys is really like a safety, right? I mean, our defense, they're kind of, you know, nickel guys. Like we play like nickel basically the whole game, but so you know, I think he has a chance to play.
How do you feel about your special teams? What's your assessment of them so far this year?
I've been really happy with the field goal, and then we missed a crucial one today so I was really unhappy with that. Our punting is getting better. We think that one of the major steps we have to take is our return game. We've been terrible as a return team the last couple of years. Now, you'll look at the stats that says we were a good punt return team, but that was all basically just Delaware State game. So we have got to become a better punt and kick return team. I mean, we've been good here. We've had great returners, right? So I think Robbie's going to add to that. But there's been a real emphasis on the special teams. Ed Foley's done a really nice job of really galvanizing the special teams. So there's two parts of special teams, right? There's the part that we all noticed, that whether we can kick the ball through the uprights, which is 90% of our thoughts. But then there's all the other teams, So we think we'll have a great kickoff, trying to get the return team better. Can he kick it through the uprights consistently yet? Can Austin do it? He's getting close. Today, if I wouldn't have been for that one kick today, I'd come in here and be like, hey, we're going to knock it through every time. We feel good about ourselves. Sorry. But that was it. So I'm good.
Coach, with Robbie being likely playing on wide receivers, is there any worry about him being out there a lot after missing a year?
No, I mean, we have him. We're going to play him, right? I mean, if it's up to him, he'd play both ways, So, we're just going to play him. And we got a lot of other really good receivers. So, we're going to put him back as a punt returner, kick returner. Going to use him at wide receiver. And like I said, we've got a lot of other receivers we feel really, I think you guys were there when Sam, did you see that long run by Sam? So we have a lot of guys making plays right now.
Do you think having Robbie back is going to help PJ this year?
Oh my gosh, yeah. To be quite honest, I mean, I think when Adonis got eligible, when Robbie's grades were coming in, I think it was like the whole coaching staff was sitting around, and PJ was in the back of the room waiting for it. Those guys are competitors, and it's not a slight against the other receivers. It makes the other receivers better. But Robbie's a guy that can go up and jump up and catch the ball, right? And that's what a quarterback needs, right? I think sometimes some of those picks last year, the kid was doing what he did the year before. He was throwing the ball up to the guy, and they were jumping up and catching it. The other team was, and so it's just finding that. And what you see now is you see Ramond coming on. Ventel's playing really well. So a lot of our other guys are adopting some of that same competitiveness that Robbie has.
Is Sam still playing defense as well?
Sam Benjamin? No, he's playing receiver. Yeah, playing receiver. Yeah.
With your depth situation on D, what do you see from them this year, stacking up as last year they were among the best in the country?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got some injuries right now that I think could affect us. Right, so far, Praise Martin hasn't done anything. Hershey's been banged up. Sharif Finch has been hurt, and I don't know if Sharif, I don't know where that is. So I think there's some injuries we're concerned about. I think we were fourth in scoring defense. We weren't, which is a good stat, right? But that was last year. That's been the message to them. So I think if they have the right message, we'll be good. We have to stay healthy. I like our depth right now. We just have to stay healthy, right? Tavon, Tyler, one of those guys gets nicked. It would be counting on a young player to go in and play, and that's not really what we want to do right now. We want to play with the vets. So I feel good about them right now, as long as they can stay healthy.
But Praise is back?
I think now it's his leg or something like that.
It's a day-to-day thing? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. You have to ask him.
And Sharif,
Sharif's had a couple knee surgeries, right? So it just swells up on him. So
both those guys haven't been practicing, you said?
no, Sharif's gotten some in, right? But it just swells up on him. It's nothing. Might as well get them all in, Rich. I'm good, right? Anybody?
The D made a lot of big plays for you last year, scored a few touchdowns. Is that something you've seen continuing this year?
David Hood made a great run on Saturday. He got to the 1 yard line. They knocked the ball out. Tavon Young scooped it up and ran 99 yards for a touchdown. So it's just the way they practice. That comes from them. It comes from Phil. Then they're scooping and scoring every incomplete pass. Which that's one of the things you talk about, like Tavon and those guys culture-wise. We ask him to run and pick up every incomplete pass. At first, it sounds ridiculous, right? I mean, like the offensive guys are like, well, we're leading the league in incomplete passes, recoveries. But it's just a part of the culture, and then it shows up last year. So they've got that, and they're running with it. So I expect them to, pick a lot of balls off. I expect them to, cause a lot of fumbles. The challenge has been the interceptions. I think we were only like 68th in the country in interceptions last year. It was more fumbles that we created. So trying to get our hands on more balls, tip more balls. That's been one of our messages to them. Go make plays on the ball when we can.
You want to see how Jihad Thomas this year? Last year he was his first year playing running back. He led the team rushing, second with receiving. What do you want to see with him this year?
Great question. I think he had 30 plays over 11 yards. And he got moved to tailback like this time. Like literally like this week last year. So this is his first full. So we've actually been pacing him a little bit, right? We know what he can do, and we feel good about it. We've been trying to get more reps to the young guys and see where they are. But what I want to see with him is I want to see him finish plays. As I told him, I said, you got a lot of 11-plus plays. You also have a lot of plays where you're tackled inside the 10. A lot of those times we didn't score, so just having him finish. And you see that. I saw him today run a couple balls, put his shoulders down, and get us 6 instead of just getting 3. So Jihad, if we can just get him to do what he's trained to do all the time, I think could be a really good player, especially with some of the bigger backs taking some of the load off of him.
And he's a return kicks for you guys this year too, right?
He's in the mix. He's fighting for that job, and we have a good group of guys back there fighting for that kick return job. So right now he's in it. We'll see.
Is Leon the guy to be at right tackle, or was he just getting wrapped?
No, Jalen Robinson got hurt today, got banged up today, and I don't know where. They just said, "Hey, Jalen's out." So, they don't tell me too much during practice, right? They say Jalen's out, and I just keep coaching the guys that are out there. So Leon got in there, and it'll be interesting to see how he did. Leon has all the talent in the world. We've been trying to reach him, get him to just do it all the time. He does it for a while, but he's had a really good camp, and so I'm excited to see what he did today. That was a really hard day, and it was really hot. And he, see if he did it. I don't know yet. I hope so.
Can you talk about opening up the season against Penn State?
Yeah, it's the first game. We're excited. We have a long way to go to even be able to compete with them. Till then, and we just got to get our guys. We want our guys just completely focused on us and what we do. We went to the season ticket holder party the other night. It was awesome. I think there were like over 1,000 people that came to see our team. First time it's ever been like that. It was awesome, and. That was the talk of it. That was the talk of the whole time. And I'm just trying to get our guys to say, you know what, at Penn State season ticket holder party, they were asking Penn State about Penn State. You know what I mean? And we don't want to talk about Penn State right now. We want to talk about us for the next 2 weeks, and then we'll talk about them next. So just trying to get our guys to focus on us because we have so far to go. But you know what? We got a good group of kids out there now, right? And they're tough. And we just have to figure out some position battles, and hopefully we'll be able to compete when that game comes.
What's that like managing the competition with three freshman running backs with Gardner, Armstead, and TJ? All three of those guys for the man, they're very good. You guys went from not having a lot of depth there to
Right.
three promising freshmen coming in. What's it been like?
It's a great question. I brought all the freshmen in here yesterday, and I just said, take a breath, man. Relax. You're a freshman. I said, when you guys were in ninth grade, were you guys, the first day of ninth grade football, were you guys worried about, am I going to start as a senior? Am I going to get a college scholarship? I said, no, you're worried about, am I going to get my head knocked off today, right? Well, your first camp as a freshman, stop worrying about, how many carries am I going to get? Am I going to go to the NFL someday? Just relax, take the pressure off. TJ Simmons is putting so much pressure on himself. I'm a 4-star this. There's no stars walking the door with you, right? It's just you, TJ, and it's just you, Rockwell. And so getting them just to relax, take the pressure off. And what I like about them is they work together. They got a good group together. And we'll see how it plays out. They can hold on to the football, and they'll complement Jihad well.
Does it motivate you more this season that you guys missed out on the ball last year to try and make it this season?
I'm going to answer that honestly, and I'm so afraid I don't want it to come across disrespectfully, but I would say this to my guys. I challenge my guys. I said, if you were more motivated this year than we were last year, then we didn't deserve to go to a bowl game last year. You know what I mean? And that's just a challenge to us, right? It hurt. Maybe more in the off season. You know what I mean? We put "Leave No Doubt" on our shirts, not now, but in the off season, because it was hey, when that happens, we have to pick ourselves up and go even harder. But right now, man, I want us to go as hard as we can go. But yesterday's gone, right? We're just trying to work on today. But that was a painful moment, and I think for a lot of guys, it grew them up. It made them understand this is real, right? We got a lot of guys they'll miss a block and they'll say, okay, let's do that again. And I'm like, oh, we didn't get to go replay Cincinnati the next day. We didn't get to not fumble on the floor, too rough the punter twice. So just to answer your question, I think that motivated us in the offseason, but right now I think our guys are really focused on trying to become a good football team. And I think that's the seniors, If anything haunts the seniors, I bet you it's still those losses from 2 years ago. They learned a lot from that. And they learned, you lose more than you win. So just, don't lose the game and we'll have a chance to win.
Okay.
Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it, guys.
Next up,